Three words: price to income. And I know that phrase is lost on the populace of this country, but it still matters. And it's like an ancient language that has just been lost in time. In a low interest rate environment where people cast aside all financial prudence, those kinds of formulas that are tethered to reality get tossed out the window. The fact is that detached houses are 10 to 15x the median income, and that's not normal. It's not fine, no matter how you slice it or how you rationalize it. And it will revert to the mean eventually. But in these windows of time where prices go up forever and there's no consequences for speculation, people find all sorts of ways of justifying and rationalizing what, well, it's so great and everyone wants to buy, and well, it is worth this. It's so special, this pile of plywood. It's just, we all should just build a church dedicated to housing. It's just the most amazing thing there ever was. And they find 10,000 reasons to justify their decision and their speculation. But eventually, you have to contend with reality. And the reality is that the average income in Canada, household, is about 80K. Individual is about 40, 45. So you cannot have a country that is so decoupled from average income. And the historical norm is 2 to 3 times the median income, which means that, and I know it sounds crazy, to people now, because, they just assume that everything's worth $1 billion and that it goes up forever. But there was a time where a home did cost 2 to 3 times the average income. But eventually, money starts to get more expensive to borrow. Things slow down, unemployment rises, and you do get a reversion back to some semblance of normalcy. And that's a great thing. We should all be clamoring for that. And I've been saying this for many, many years, and was always met with like, well, you want to, and it's funny how the sentiment's changing now, because, you criticized home prices a few years ago, even a few years ago, and it's like, oh, you're broke. You just want to crash so you can get a house, but you have no money and you're going to lose your job if that happens. And, all these and it's like, no, all I'm saying is that we should exist in a world where home ownership is attainable based on real incomes and not a fantasy. I'm not saying I want everything to burn so that everyone suffers because I'm somehow poor and bitter. Like, the idea that you're critical so you must be envious is such a silly and dangerous response. There's only 2 ways it can go in this country. Either asset prices have to decline to reflect real world incomes, or wages have to go up. And I would argue that in a country with very little economic growth, very minimal prospects, in a stagnating environment with a declining population, with rising unemployment, that's not likely to happen. So to me, the simple and elegant solution is to allow asset prices to decline, so that they can be attainable for the average person, and to stop pumping the tires and intervening and implementing policy that continues to inject synthetic demand, so that the boomers don't cry and they keep voting. To allow something to have a healthy price discovery is good.